That trade truce between the U.S. and China, it is on shaky ground.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by WSJ Plus, a news bundle offering global insights and market tools from 4 business and finance publications so readers can explore every angle.
From Marketplace, I'm Sabri Ben-Achour in for David Brancaccio. Tensions are once again escalating between the world's 2 largest economies. Last week, President Trump accused China of violating the terms of the trade truce between the two, with the U.S. Trade Representative accusing China of restricting the flow of critical minerals. Today, China accused the U.S. of violating the agreement. The BBC's Laura Bicker has more.
Washington and Beijing agreed to temporarily lower tit-for-tat tariffs after talks in Geneva. But Mr. Trump said last week that Beijing had totally violated the deal and announced plans to revoke the visas of Chinese students and restrict the sale of chip-designed software to China. In a statement, the Commerce Ministry in Beijing said today that these actions seriously undermine the consensus reached in Geneva, and if the US insists on its own way, China will take forceful measures to safeguard its interests, it added.
That's the BBC's Laura Bicker. Let's do the numbers. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all down in the 2 to 0.6% range, with Dow futures down 102 points. The yield on the 10-year Treasury is 4.4%. Non-alcoholic beer is becoming more popular every year. Globally, sales grew 9% in 2024. Meanwhile, sales of regular beer fell 1%. Of course, this is according to the beverage data and analytics company IWSR. Out of the different categories of beer, alcoholic lager is by far and away number 1 in terms of volume, but non-alcoholic beer is on track to snatch the number 2 spot, currently held by ale, by the end of this year. That said, the non-alcoholic stuff still only has about 2% market share compared to lager's 92%. Marketplace's Samantha Fields has more.
It used to be if you wanted a non-alcoholic beer, there weren't a whole lot of options, and they didn't really taste like beer. But Kaylee Theriault at Nielsen IQ says that's not the case anymore.
I've done blind taste testing of an alcohol beer and its non-alcohol variant, and it's a struggle for me to tell the difference between the two from a flavor perspective. They're that good.
That is a big reason more people are drinking non-alcoholic beer these days.
10, 15 years ago, the only thing that was available was O'Doul's and a couple European brands, and there weren't really any options that were aspirational or cool.
Burkhard Nessen at Rabobank says now there are a bunch of brands making non-alcoholic craft beers, and major beer companies have offerings too. And lots of people who also drink regular beer are buying them.
I go to conferences for work. I don't like having a second drink in those situations because I just want to have my wits about me.
And he says non-alcoholic beer is an easy way to do that without standing out. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Bitwarden Password Manager. From road trips to tropical adventures, Bitwarden is designed to protect family accounts and devices anywhere. Available at bitwarden.com. And by Schwab. Schwab offers investors choices like full-service wealth management, self-directed investing options, and trading on Thinkorswim. More at schwab.com.
Among the proposals for the tax bill that Republicans in Congress are still putting together is something we've more often seen from Democratic legislators: the idea of giving out money for newborn babies. So-called Trump accounts, previously known as Money Accounts for Growth and Advancement, or MEGA accounts, would include a one-time deposit of $1,000 for every American baby born. That would be invested and held in the stock market. For more on this, we've got Sam Taub, lead writer on investing for NerdWallet. Good morning.
Good morning.
Who gets the free seed contribution?
In general, a child has to be a U.S. citizen. They have to be at least 2 years old on January 1st, 2026, which is the first date on which these accounts will be available. And they have to have at least one parent with a work-eligible Social Security number. There's different criteria for what they're calling the newborn pilot program for MAGA accounts, which is the type that gets this $1,000 seed contribution. Those are for U.S. citizen children who are born between January 1st, 2024 and December 31st, 2028. And to be eligible for those, you have to have two parents with work-eligible Social Security numbers.
So you have these accounts, You don't pay taxes on the money that you put in them at first. What happens when you take the money out? When do you take the money out, and what are you supposed to use it for?
Account holders are not supposed to take distributions until they're at least 18. And then between ages 18 to 25, they can access up to half of the funds for certain specific purposes: higher education, training programs, small business loans, or first-time home purchases. Between 25 and 30, they can withdraw the full balance of the account, but just for those limited purposes. And then after age 30, they're allowed to withdraw the full balance of the account for any reason. Distributions taken for those qualified purposes are taxed as long-term capital gains, while distributions for other purposes are taxed as ordinary income. And it's worth pausing here to point out that this tax advantage is not really that much of a tax advantage, in that the situation that I just described is pretty similar to the tax situation you'd get by just putting money into a regular taxable brokerage account and investing it in stocks for at least a year and a day.
There are other ways of doing this on your own. Are there not sort of types of savings accounts that one could open for your kids?
There are a few different options. It's worth noting that many states actually already offer similar funding programs for 529 plans, and in some cases, the amount of free money on offer through those state programs is actually quite a bit more than $1,000 per child. Granted, some of those state programs have income limits, so the proposed accounts in their current form, at least, may offer a little more flexibility than a lot of existing options in terms of income-based eligibility.
Sam Taub is with NerdWallet. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
In New York, I'm Sabri Benishore with the Marketplace Morning Report. From APM, American Public Media.